You know what this look is?
What?
Lady Godiva.
Lady Godiva.
Without a horse.
Without.
On an imaginary horse.
Without a horse.
Yes, and she's riding, and she's riding. Hi, Vogue. I'm Natasha Lyonne.
And I'm Ted Gibson.
And today, we're gonna be doing something that we think of as a kind of if Stevie Nicks and Bernadette Peters took a bunch of LSD, had a baby, and then went down the rabbit hole into wherever Alice in Wonderland lives. Is that
Can I do that?
Honey, you were born to do, okay?
What I love about Natasha's hair in particular is that she has many different textures. And what I love to do is I love to add texture. I love to give volume. So as I take one side down, as you can see on the other side, Natasha's hair is a little bit shorter. So what I'm gonna do for you today is I'm gonna teach you my technique in doing hair extensions because it is not Hollywood's best kept secret any longer. What I wanted to do is I wanted to come through and soften up Natasha's hair, her own curl pattern, and kind of blend it a little bit with the actual hair extension.
Marcel, who does the hair on Russian Doll, was like, why don't we tip it further into red? Also, because we knew Rebecca Henderson was gonna be sort of like the platinum blonde, and then Greta Lee had sort of brown hair, and in order to be functioning Charlie's Angels, we needed one of each. I had like a thing where, you know, like just sort of male rock stars in the 70s or something always used to have that kind of shag sunglasses, and then you don't even notice what the person looks like. And that's what I like. I like being half a Muppet. And so somehow the red hair really just gelled it all together.
I believe that a woman is more loyal to her hair colorist than she is to her hair cutter.
Interesting, really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
I think because there's something about getting the right shade for a woman that I think is really important. And when you tap into that, it changes everything.
With Ted and I, the first time we met, I was actually with Molly R. Stern was doing my makeup, and Molly and I have been sort of like best friends, sisters. I think we were doing James Corden, and I never met Ted before, but when I walked into the room, it was like Molly and Ted, and the three of us just spent the next hour and a half like laughing hysterically for no particular reason, playing all these songs, singing along with the songs. The vibe between Ted and Molly and I was so special. It just sort of nothing mattered in that moment because it was kind of, the air in the room was just good. And then after that day, I was like, I just tried to have Ted come with me everywhere all the time. And luckily, you would say yes, even though you're one of the busiest men in showbiz.
Well, I guess. It is Hollywood.
It is Hollywood, baby.
If you decide that you're gonna go buy some hair extensions, they can be slightly off if you want them to be. They don't have to match exactly, because if you know that if you have hair color or if you color your hair, you know that as it's on your head and it grows out and grows out and grows out, it gets a little bit lighter on the ends. So it's very important to know that you don't have to have it specifically exactly the same color. You can tweak it just a little bit for yourself. I'm adding texture, I'm adding movement, I'm giving it just a little bit of softness because what I wanna do is I'm gonna put in the next hair extension that I'm gonna show you in just a second. So with hair extensions, you can buy them with clips. These are clip-ons,
Interesting.
you can see. Now, when you purchase them, you can get in a seven in a pack. What's important to know is that there are rows that have 3 clips on them, there are rows that have 2, and some that have 1. What I did in the back, Natasha, is I used the ones that are 3 to put in the back because the head is a little larger in the back, and then on the sides I'm gonna use the 2s. I'm going to take a section diagonally from the front hairline, basically right above the eyebrow, all the way back to the back of the head. I'm gonna clip that up. Normally, on someone that has finer hair, I would come back and use my tail comb and back comb this area so that when I put in the hair extension into that, so it would hold. I don't necessarily have to do that because Natasha has enough texture. So as I apply it, clip it in place.
You know what this is reminding me of? When I was like, I don't know, maybe 12. I was in New York and I was maybe at Gristedes or D'Agostino's or something, one of our major supermarkets. And I remember that there was a checkout lady who had like soft curly hair down to her ankles.
Down to her ankles.
Yes, and I thought to myself at the time, that's what I'm gonna do with my hair. You know, my mom, I remember, used to do like brushing out my knots. And I remember a lot of like crying.
Did it hurt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also in high school, they would make so much fun of me that I was like, I never brushed my hair or something because it was curly. And I was like, no, I brush it in the shower with the conditioner on.
And what part of New York did you grow up in?
Well, I was like this Upper East Side.
Okay.
And
so in the city.
Yeah, but I think that because I was a scholarship kid with a single mom, they thought I was an easy target. It was kind of like this source of pride when I was a little girl, but when I got to this weird, uptight high school, it was suddenly like a symbol of being different.
Yes.
And that it was a real, you know, like that means there's something wrong with you, otherwise your hair would grow out straight. I always find that when I'm directing and like if I show up to a production meeting and there's men there and I have straight hair, that they tend to sort of accept me as an authority much easier.
Yes.
And then with the big curly hair, it's kind of like, oh, she has such wacky ideas.
So what I'm doing now is I'm taking section by section and I'm using my curling tong and softening over Natasha's, the top of her hair, and then coming back and using the iron and rotating all the way around for only like 2 seconds, which gives me a softer curl pattern. Do you see that? And then that's what blends in with the hair extension. And as I'm working, I'm still concentrating on making sure that I keep that frizziness. I don't want it to be too curly. The sexiness of it is the frizz, and the sexiness of it is how it feels and moves.
The sexiness of it is very important to Ted and I. We spend a lot of time focusing on that because it's true that mostly that's what we want to be projecting. So we come at that as a duo. It feels like finally as a society we're starting to understand that this is like this wide spectrum of what historically we've decided, had said was really narrow with regards to beauty, and that no matter what you looked like, you were supposed to try to fit yourself into this tiny little box. And it was like heartbreaking for so many people because it does make you feel a certain type of way if you're seeing images constantly that are just this homogenized single thing, and you know that you're other, but you're like struggling to say, oh, my difference is kind of what makes me special, as opposed to sort of collectively actually seeing that reflected in our images. It puts my soul at so much ease when I think about little girls, the idea that maybe they'll be able to spare themselves like just an inch of suffering around that's so needless. And also, just such a more boring and lamer world. Like, I don't want to be a part of that.
The fourth step I'm going to talk to you about is product. I think if you have naturally curly hair, one of the things that Natasha always says is that she uses a leave-in conditioner. She runs a wide tooth comb in the shower. I think that you want to make sure that every strand of hair is saturated with product. Now, when I diffuse Natasha's hair, when I'm getting her ready, I use several different products in order to create that really nice, beautiful curl pattern that she's used to having. One of the products is I use a spray-on detangler, and then I use another product called Shooting Star Texture Meringue that actually gives a little bit of control and a little bit of shine, which I think is really important. Curly hair absorbs light. So women usually that have curly hair are looking for something that's going to be shine enhancing because of that absorption of light. And if you have straight hair, it reflects light. So as it reflects light, you always have light and shine. Curly hair girls, it's always important to have a cool water rinse. It's a secret. A cool water rinse before you get out of the shower.
Ted, I kind of wish you'd told me this a little bit sooner. I also am learning a lot of secrets today. I feel like I should have been privy to them, but it's fine. Life is a process.
It's a process. It is a process.
Look at this. Diana Ross would be proud.
What?
Yes. I'm ready to go on stage. I have a big concert tonight.
Ain't no mountain high enough.
Ain't no mountain of hair high enough. Do we just need a little bit more? More. Yes, we're just about there. Do you think they'll think it's too short, Tim?
You think?
Yes. I want them to almost think, where's her body hiding?